Hi folks, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. I'm standing in front of the new BioCircle machine. First of all, your employer has made an investment in moving away from the old solvent type machines that you had in the past. They moved to this new system. So solvent, as you know, is a great cleaner. So if you have parts to clean, it's a great system for that. The challenge with solvent is it's not very good for you, it's not very good for the environment, and it's not very good for the future. The way solvent works and the way BioCircle works are very, very different. So solvent works by dissolving the oil and grease and putting it into the tank. Eventually that tank becomes saturated and then you have to pay someone to come in and haul that away. Again, with solvent, it's flammable, it's toxic. You'll find if you're leaning over it and breathing as you're cleaning parts, you'll get a little bit nauseous sometimes or maybe a little bit of headaches. BioCircle is a very, very different system. It's a water-based system that uses microbes. So rather than leaving the oil and grease in there, the microbes will actually eat the oil and grease and break it down into carbon dioxide and water. That means that you don't have to dispose of the liquid, you have almost no waste to it, it's clean, it's safe, non-flammable, non-hazardous, and of course one of the things you'll notice as you start using it, it's got a little bit of an apple scent to make it a little bit more pleasing. The system works like an aquarium. So the microbes are the fish in the aquarium. In this system we'll have a heater and we'll have an aerator just like your aquarium at home. The oil and the grease becomes the food. The system will actually digest about 1 cup of oil or grease in a 24-hour period. It's like magic. It's going to make it disappear and you're going to have a nice clean solution all the time. So let's take a look at the machine. You've just got it and let's do the setup from square one. So the very first thing you have to do, you've taken the machine out of the plastic, situate it in a place. Now I'm going to walk you through the machine first, then we're going to fill it up, we're going to start it up, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. But step by step. First thing that you want to do, have yourself a little pair of pliers because you want to cut the band here that's holding this in place. So I'm just going to snip it here and just unroll this a little bit and take this out. Now you're going to notice this looks just like your solvent machine. It has a cleaning brush to it, it has a spigot that we can move in a variety of different positions. So no different. This particular machine, the sink will actually hold about 550 pounds. Anything heavier than that, you just want to suspend it over it and do your cleaning. So now let's look inside of the machine before we lift it up. You have a black filter here. This is your first screen. And this is meant to catch any bits of rust flakes, any kind of solid material. If I lift this up and take this out, you see I have a finer screen underneath. The finer screen will catch even finer particles and collect them in here. Again, we don't want that solid stuff going down into the basin if we can avoid it. And then finally, at the very bottom of the sink here, we have a magnet. The magnet is removable, and that again will catch any little metal filings. If we were cleaning a motor and the bearings were worn, there may be some metal filings. So this will catch that and stop it from going into the machine. Always make sure that the magnet is clean. Just take a cloth every now and then, wipe it off, put it back in. It just inserts in. The screen then goes in, and then the larger screen goes in on top. Periodically, you may just want to clean the sink to keep it nice and new looking. Now let's lift the machine up and take a look and see what's inside. In order to lift it, just elevate the machine, and it will lock itself into place. Reach inside of the machine. There's a filter bag that we can see here. There's a second filter bag and a brush at the bottom of the machine. Make sure you take those out before you put any liquid in the machine. I'm just going to set these aside. As we look inside the machine, we'll see we have a filter bag here. This is meant to catch the stuff that has gone through that filter screen. It's important to always have the filter bag on here and to replace it periodically as it gets full or as it gets stained. We'll also see if we look inside the machine, there is a scale on the side here which will show liquid levels. This is the minimum liquid level. Below this, the machine will not operate. This is the ideal level, and this is the maximum level. We always want to be between ideal and maximum level. The more liquid we have, the better cleaning we're going to do, the better bioremediation we're going to do. If we look at the control module, there's nothing you have to do to this. There's a heater element, and that's going to warm the solution up to about 41 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be nice and warm on your hands. We have air stones in here, And that is just, again, like your aquarium, it's going to put air into the system or oxygen into the system. And we have a liquid flow pump here. All we have to do, okay, is to fill our machine with liquid. It's important at this point we have not plugged the machine in. Okay. So the next step will be obviously to move the machine to the position you want to have it in, because once we put that liquid in, we're going to put in 5 to 6 5-gallon pails. That machine is going to get a little bit heavy. So let's take a look now. Let's move this into place, and then we'll start with the liquid. Okay, so you've moved the machine into the position you want, and you want to have it close to an outlet. But it's also important not to push the machine too close against the wall, because we want to make sure we always have access to the filter bowl. We want to be able to see it, and periodically we want to change that filter if it gets clogged or too dirty. At this point, I still haven't plugged the machine in, and that's important. We don't plug the machine in until after we've filled it with liquid. Now, you may have gotten your liquid in the 5-gallon pails, like this, or you may have gotten it in a drum, which will hold 10 of those 5-gallon pails. In order to open the pail, just take your little snips, cut the edge here, and then grab the tab and pull the tab all the way up, like so. We're then going to take our liquid and start filling the machine. The easiest way to do that is to lift the machine up. Again, it will lock itself open. So then just take the liquid and pour your liquid in the machine. And we're going to completely fill the machine with 6 of the 5-gallon pails. We're about 30 gallons before we start the machine up. So here goes the last bucket. This is number 6 going in there. Of course, one of the things you'll notice as you're filling it, you will notice that apple scent. And that's there. It's much better than the solvent scent, and it just lets you know that everything is going to be working fine. So now I've got the system filled. I'm just going to release here, let the tank go back down, and you see that bag is going to be immersed right into the solution. At this point, now I'm ready to plug my machine in. So I'll take my cutters again, simply cut the little tie wrap holding this, 2 places, and we'll take our plug. I'm going to bring it around, plug the machine into a grounded outlet. Now the machine is plugged in. I just want to take a look. I have a flashing button here. Remove any little pieces of plastic that you may have had. Now you can hear the machine begin to run. It takes about 30 seconds. This control module, it's like your cellular phone. It reboots itself every time you plug the machine in. So if I have to unplug it and move it, put it back in place again, when I replug it in, it will reboot and restart the entire system. If I were to lift the sink up again now, and you take a close look, you'll see the bubbling action. That's the aeration working. Those air stones are putting oxygen or air into that particular solution, and that's going to allow those microbes to live and to eat that oil and grease. So let's put the top back down now. We're ready to go, and all I'm going to do is start my machine up. It'll take a minute to start because I have to fill my filter housing here. And once it's filled, then you can see in my sink, and now I have my liquid beginning to flow through the spigot, or I turn and have it coming out through the brush. At this point, I'm not going to clean anything yet. I just want to do a couple of checks. I'm going to look at my machine, make sure that my filter bowl is not leaking, make sure I have no leaks in any of the joints. If I do, I just want to tighten those up. May have to put a little Teflon tape on it, but it should be good to go. The machine will now begin to heat itself, and we'll bring it up to that optimal temperature at 41 degrees Celsius. As I begin to clean parts, the first thing I'm going to do is put some gloves on. Now, the reason why we put gloves on with the solution is not because there's anything wrong with the solution. It's not like solvent. There's nothing that's going to be harsh. I'm going to wear the gloves because the parts I'm going to clean are going to be dirty and greasy. So I'm going to slide my gloves on, and I'm going to grab a part here and show you how simple this system is going to work. If I were to take a part like this that I have to clean, simply put it in my tank and start my cleaning action to it. And this is going to take the oils and greases off of my part and wash them down into the system. I'm going to clean the same way I've cleaned with solvent. No different whatsoever. In some cases I may need to use a little bit more pressure just to get the grease off because I'm working on a totally different principle. But of course the main thing is now I'm not going to have any waste. So I'm just going to continue cleaning that part till it's to the desired cleanliness, and then turn my machine off. It's important when you turn the machine off to always leave it plugged in, because we have the heater heating the solution and we have the aeration. That allows these microbes to do their work. The microbes will actually multiply very, very quickly in there so they can eat that full 1 cup of oil and grease. Regular maintenance. What do we have to do with this machine? Well, the first thing is it's different from solvent. So we can't put paint. We can't put chlorine. Remember I told you about the aquarium similarity to it? Very similar to that. You would not put bleach into your aquarium. You want to put food into your aquarium for your fish? That's our oil and grease. But that's really it. We want to keep the rest of that solution pretty clean. So we don't put paint, we don't put chlorine, we don't put copper. Anything that will harm you as a person will harm the system. So we just need to remember that. As far as maintenance goes, there really is none. You're going to make sure that your sink is going to be clean from time to time. You're going to lift the lid here, and you're going to look to make sure that your liquid is at that close to that maximum level. Very important. And we're going to check our filter bag from time to time to make sure that that has not become heavy with grease or rust or dirty parts like that. Other than that, that oil and grease is going to disappear over that 24-hour period. In the event that you did some very, very heavy cleaning with lots and lots of oil and grease and you oversaturated it, not to worry. All you want to do is just take an oil absorbent pad, something like this, and I would put that in there, and that will soak up the additional oil and greases that's maybe too much for the system. Normally you don't have to do this, but if you had a very large job and you put a lot of stuff in there, you may want to use something like that. But in 99% of the cases, we don't worry about this. The microbes will do their job and keep that system nice and clean. You may find over time the liquid changes color, and that's normal. That's the dyes and the pigments that are in the oils and greases. Does not affect the cleaning performance. All you're going to have to do is maintain that liquid level. The liquid will go down as you clean parts. You're doing a carry away of wet parts. You get a little bit of evaporation. Do not add water to the solution. Add another pail of the BioCircle L liquid to replenish it and keep it up full. You're going to have trouble-free cleaning for the next number of years. Again, thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you and your company for investing in BioCircle and having a cleaner, better, safer way for you